Hey guys, what's up? I had to think what day it was, per usual, because I always have to think what day it was. But it's Tuesday, not Monday. I hope you guys all had a good long weekend. I apologize for saying I was going to stream yesterday and then not streaming. I totally forgot it was um, a long weekend, and my brother had a cookout planned for tomorrow, or for tomorrow. Good grief, it's going to be a long stream. It's not. It's not. Just for me. He had a cookout planned for yesterday, which we generally do over the weekend instead and not on Monday, but it is what it is. It just was a weird weekend and I'm here. That's what I got for you. That's what I got. I laughed because I saw Grandma. I beat you, Gabby, and I figured, and hello, Grandma, but I figured this was going to be Gabby's response. Ah, hello, Laura. Hope you had a good weekend. Hello, Holly. I hope you also had a good weekend. Yes, Dr. Ruth Roth. I keep wanting to say Rick Ross, which I don't even. Who was that? Is that? I don't know. I spit. uh, hey, Flashman. How's your favorite dir? Well, she's struggling. Struggling already. Oh my. What's up, Adair? How you doing? It's cold. This is crazy. Crazy, crazy. Rick Ross is a rapper? Okay. That's like way out of my well, not way out, but a little out of my wheelhouse. So I'm going to warn you of this. I have, with the exception of what is right in front of me, which is normal right in front of me, I have everything else completely switched around so it's backwards of what I'm used to. So I have no idea what's going to happen when I start trying to run the stream because where I normally click, I will be clicking the opposite way. And so who knows? Who knows? Uh, I don't know. But kind of like Gabby and Carmen's stream, if any of you took the time to read the description, I apologize for everything and nothing. Same goes for tonight. I apologize for everything and nothing. um, but thank you to Gabby and Carmen for taking time out on their Saturday to do a stream. And thank you to everyone that showed up and participated. They are always funny and a good time. I had Miss Madison and my son was over because he can't drive, so he can't lift up his daughter right now. He can't drive, and he it's like his wife brings the baby over when she goes to work, like at 6 a.m., and then he calls me when he wakes up, and I go pick him up and then bring him over, and then she picks them both up when she gets off work and gets here about 8 o'clock at night. So it's a very long day, and that was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it was a very quick weekend with a lot of work and fun because it's always fun. Oh goodness, I don't know how I know that name. I have no idea. Is he with a group? Like I don't know. I don't know who Rick Ross is. Dr. Not that Dr. Ruth. She's well, I mean, she wasn't at the time that this was made, but let's say she's gone to the big clinic in the sky. Gabby, grandma wins because she's grandma. That's just that's just the way it is. I can't tell you that, Gabby. I can't tell you you won because grandma won because she's grandma. So that's period, full stop, Gabby. That's just the way it goes. Sorry. It's just it she's grandma. Can't tell grandma they lose, ever. Like, this doesn't matter. So, anyway, um thanks, grandma. Love you too. You can pay me later. Just kidding. Oh, I see. Well, still grandma wins today. Okay, so we are going back to, the Betty Broderick trial, and I have to tell you, I was, looking up some information on this witness today just to try to get a feel for who, what her role was and why she was called to testify. And so she was, she tried to help, Dan and Betty with some marriage counseling, and according to what I was reading, says she briefly met Betty in 1987, and in the first trial, apparently did not have a lot of good things to say about Betty. Um, so then she also apparently tried to get a custody agreement between Dan and Betty as well. I don't know that if she was successful on that or not. I couldn't find anything because I got sidetracked in this on this one article I was reading. I got sidetracked by the comments that were below it from like 13 years ago or something crazy, and how there was like the same people kind of arguing back and forth because you know how comment sections go. Um, and it was crazy to me how many people in that chat were defending Betty. And if you didn't defend Betty, you better be careful. You better watch out because they were coming for you and they were coming hard. And, but I was like, wow, you, you, they did not have a hashtag free Broderick because was that a thing 13 years ago? Probably. Um, but I'm like, you cannot excuse unaliving somebody. Was Dan a perfect person? Probably not. Was Linda a perfect person? Nope. Was Betty? Nope. It also talked about Kim, the daughter, that, hello, Ronnie, perfect timing, that Ronnie didn't like. um, it talked about how in the first, like, she was estranged from her dad for a while. And I thought, well, maybe they've got to be talking about Lee. But they never corrected that to talk about Lee. And they said it was really strange how Kim basically kind of came to her dad's defense, like had become like this martyr um, in her life after his passing. That happens a lot, right? We don't want to speak ill of the dead, and so that's happened. And it's her dad; he's gone. Her mom like did it allegedly. So it was interesting. The comment section, I just got a lot, and there was only like 13 comments, but I just sat there like, what is happening here? Please don't show up in my stream. Because I can't I couldn't get to where they were. And so I don't know. Hello, little one. You you found your grandma decanter. This judge is still alive. I was shocked. So he is still alive, obviously retired, does not look the same, obviously, as we all don't as we age. But yeah, he's still alive. So good on him. I can't remember how old he is now. So you could send it to him. Yeah, it wasn't on YouTube. It was an article that was about the kind of about the first trial. I think I don't know. It was just I saw there was comments and I had to go look to see what they were talking about and which way they were leaning, and it was Betty's way. So good for them, I guess. I don't know. The thing about it is none of us were there. And like I just told you, they were all bad. They weren't bad people. They just did bad things, I think, and bad actions. But you cannot get me to that it's okay to unalive those two people. I mean, one of them was like, Linda had 28. Linda's karma was she only had like 28 years on this earth or something. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's just it was strange, very strange. But I was very surprised to see that the judge was still alive, but I was happy for him. Yes, bad choices, not bad people. I don't think they all started off to be bad. And I did understand what some of them were saying about Betty's frustrations of she put Dan through school and, kind of twice. And then she had to watch Linda basically live the life that she built. And they were talking about how Linda was young and pretty. She was in her 20s. She was 21 when they met. I think 27 when they got married. And he just fawned over her because she was really pretty, and she hadn't had 4 kids, and I don't know. I think she struggled to get pregnant and to keep the baby to term. So I have no idea, but I'm like, that's still you can't just go around and take people out because of that. So whatever. But anyway, all right, let's see if I can run this thing in reverse. Yes, allegedly, little one. Allegedly. All right, I got things boosted. We've got about an hour, a little over an hour of testimony from Dr. Ruth Roth. Makes me feel like I can't talk right, which I can't for 90% of the time. But I think we're good. So here we go. Let me know how the sound is.
Mediator. And what then would you be doing as a mediator for family court services?
Trying to help parents resolve for themselves what the arrangement would be with regard to custody and visitation of their children.
So you don't work as far as settling property disputes, you work regarding the children?
Only the children.
Okay. And was that something that you did full-time for that 10-year period of time for family court services? And then what did you do once you left that position?
I went into private practice.
And what do you do in private practice?
Primarily, 90% of my caseload is what I call extended mediation.
And what does that mean?
It's an elaboration of the family court services process. It is more in the nature of a full psychological evaluation with regard to child custody and visitation disputes. The difference is at the end of my evaluation, I meet with the parents together for 2 hours and utilizing the information I've acquired as a result of testing, as a result of clinical interviews, try to help the parents decide for themselves what type of child sharing plan would be in the children's best interest.
So you're basically still doing the same thing as far as trying to mediate custody disputes. You're doing it now in the private sector as opposed to working for the courts. Is that correct?
Yes, and in a more elongated fashion.
Okay. And is it when parents are going through a divorce or a custody dispute, must they go through some sort of mediation before they ultimately go through a trial?
Yes, as of January of 1981, based on a pilot program in San Diego County, 4607 of the Civil Code mandates mediation between the parents prior to any contested custody or visitation litigation.
Okay. So they have to either do it through family court services or they have the option of doing it through a private mediator such as yourself.
Yes.
Okay. And approximately how many cases have you been involved in attempting to mediate these sorts of things?
Upwards of 6,000.
Okay. Directing your attention to early 1987, were you asked in your capacity as a mediator to be involved in attempting to mediate the custody issues in the Broderick divorce?
Yes.
How was it that you were approached to do that?
I was approached by Tricia Smith, who was then the attorney for Mrs. Broderick, and for Gerald Barry, who was the attorney for Mr. Broderick, to try to assist them in private mediation with regard to the child custody issues in lieu of family court services.
And do you know why they were coming to you as opposed to family court services?
Your Honor, objection.
Sustained.
Did you have any information about whether or not the defendant was refusing to go through conciliation court, family court services?
Yes.
And what was that?
Your Honor, objection.
Well, do you have personal knowledge of why?
No, sir.
All right, sustained.
So the attorneys from both sides, essentially, the one representing Mr. Broderick, the one representing Mrs. Broderick, essentially came to you and asked you if you would do the mediation. Is that correct?
Yes.
That was an agreement between them.
Stipulate.
Objection, asked, yes.
Well, overrule the answer to stand.
And did you agree to do so?
Yes.
Can you just briefly describe for us, without going into too much detail, what your process is then when you decide to attempt to mediate a case?
I meet with each parent separately. I meet with each child old enough to be interviewed separately. I frequently meet with all the children and each parent in a separate session so I can see the family constellation. I may do psychological testing. And then I meet with the parents together for 2 hours to try to help them to resolve the issues that are in dispute.
Okay. Do you ultimately, if you work things out, do you ultimately write a report for the court?
Yes. I send a letter to both attorneys detailing specifically what the arrangements are going to be with regard to custody and visitation.
Okay. Now, directing your attention to March of 1987, did you have a meeting with the defendant, Elizabeth Broderick, in relation to this attempted mediation?
Yes.
And was that on March 3rd?
Yes.
Was this the first time that you had met with her?
Yes.
And this was, you were having a meeting with her first, and then you were going to have a meeting with Mr. Broderick, essentially?
That was the plan.
Okay. Can you describe for us what you informed Mrs. Broderick of at that first meeting? Did you explain to her what the process was?
Yes.
What did you tell her?
I told her that the format for the extended mediation, basically, as I just told you, and I told her that my job, that I had the best part, that my job was to be an advocate for the children, that she and Mr. Broderick were adults and had attorneys representing them, and the children don't get an attorney. So even though I'm not an attorney, I'm the closest thing to an attorney that children have. And so I have the best part. And I was going to try to help Mrs. Broderick and Mr. Broderick decide on a rational child sharing plan so that the children would have as stable and normal an existence as possible.
So your position was not to take sides for either parent. Your position was to
Your
try
Honor,
and...
objection repeats every answer, and it's just that true.
Sustained.
Just attempting to clarify, Your Honor, but I'll move on. What was Mrs. Broderick's response when you described this procedure to her? What happened in the meeting?
She actually didn't respond to that part of it. She sort of started off with her own agenda.
And what do you mean by that?
She started to tell me what she wanted to tell me, I guess.
Okay, and what was it that she wanted to tell you?
She said that Dr. Stephen Sparta, who was then the therapist for the two younger children, Rhett and Danny, had said that she could not have visitation with them. And went on to say that she thought that Dr. Sparta was not fair. She believed him to be in Mr. Broderick's pocket.
And how did you respond to that?
Probably in a non-committal fashion. I don't actually remember. I probably would have said something like,
Your Honor, objection calls for speculation.
Well, sustained if she doesn't remember. If you don't remember,
not specifically.
that's fine.
Was she just so she appeared to be angry at Dr. Sparta because he had recommended something against visitation?
Yes.
Did she say anything about concerns that you were also in Dan Broderick's pocket?
Not at that moment, but I think later, yes.
Okay. Was there a time that you explained to her otherwise?
Yes, I told her that I didn't know Mr. Broderick at all, that I really hadn't even heard of him and knew that he was an attorney, but I didn't know him.
So you attempted to assure her that you were not being paid or in Mr. Broderick's pocket?
Yes, I probably told her that I had,
Your Honor, objection calls for speculation.
What's your best recollection of what you told her?
Your Honor, still it's an objection unless she remembers.
I asked her what her best recollection was.
Overruled. What's your best recollection?
I told her that I had done mediation for a number of attorneys and judges and other people who were fairly prominent, and I didn't care if he was president of the bar or not. I still didn't know him, and it wouldn't have made a difference if I had, or something along that line.
What then happened in your discussions with her?
I tried to find out what Mrs. Broderick wanted from the process, what she was asking for.
Is that something that you normally do when you start off?
It's always what I do.
Okay.
This is a extended mediation or any kind of mediation. It's a very focused, short-term process. It's not therapy. The purpose is to get the parents to reach
Your
an
Honor,
agreement.
objection non-responsive.
Well, sustained. Just ask another question.
What is the purpose of your job there?
Your Honor, objection irrelevant, it's just going to statements.
No. Overruled. You can ask that. What's the purpose of your job?
To try to help the parents to reach an agreement with regard to a child sharing plan.
Okay. And not to provide therapy for either one of them?
Not at all.
Okay. When you asked Mrs. Broderick then, what did she want out of the process? What did she respond?
She started to tell me why she was angry at Mr. Broderick and how she felt treated unfairly.
Was that something that you continued to discuss, or did you try to talk about something else, or what happened then?
I tried to talk about, I let her go for a little while, thinking that once she told me what she wanted to say, we could then get on to the child-centered issues.
Okay.
But I wasn't very successful.
Okay. What happened? What happened in the discussion?
She told me that there were rats in her house, that she made a statement that went along the lines of, let him see what 4 kids are about besides fucking.
Okay. What was that in relation to when she said, let him see what 4 kids are about besides that?
Well, at that point, I didn't know. Then she went on to tell me that he had the children,
Okay.
something that I didn't know.
Okay. And so did you ask her how it was that he got the children?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She told me that she had taken them to his house on Easter Sunday and dropped them and their stuff off. so that he could see what it was like to raise them.
Okay. And that's when she made the statement about let him see what 4 kids is about besides
Yes.
fucking. Did she say anything else about that?
She said he has everything now.
If you're pausing, you're pausing because of the language that was used by Elizabeth Broderick?
Yes.
Okay. If you would, please, I would like you to give us the direct quote if you have the direct quote.
Quote, he has everything now and the cunt, end quote.
Was, how would you describe her demeanor when she was saying this?
She was angry.
Okay. Did you try to then get her to talk about what it was she wanted out of the process?
I don't recall at that point that I could break in because she went on.
Okay.
She went on to tell me that, do you want me to?
Go ahead.
She went on to tell me that she hadn't gotten her support yet and a bunch of other things having to do with the children. She was just very angry. And at that point, I let her run with it. Mm-hmm. I thought that if she got to say all the things that she wanted to say that I thought were pent up inside, then I could get to the agenda that I needed to deal with.
Okay.
And so I let her go.
Okay. And then what happened?
Toward the end, I told her that it seemed to me, more in an attempt to mollify her, that she had been the primary parent, that she had been what I call a stay-home mommy. And that it seemed to me that regardless of what happened, probably by the end of this mediation, she could get the kids back.
And what was her response to that?
She got even angrier.
Okay, what did she say?
She said, quote, I'm not going to be a single parent of 4 kids. He'll die first.
Okay. What, do you recall how you responded to that?
Probably said, what? And she went on.
And what did she say?
She said, the less I see them or hear from them, the better. No bother, no kids. End quote.
Did, how were you responding to this? Did you have any concerns about what she was saying?
I had concerns for a couple of reasons. The most immediate being that the law in the state of California that governs the license that I hold requires that I report a direct threat to the person being threatened. It's called the Tarasoff decision. And I sort of wanted to check out that I heard right, so I didn't do something that was presumptuous. And I asked her, I said, did you say that he'll die first? And she said, quote, you'll see, I'm not telling you. He's a cunt fucker. And I said, no, tell me her name. And she yelled, cunt. And that was sort of how the first session ended.
Okay. Now, you've brought along some notes with you. Were you taking notes when you had this interview with Mrs. Broderick?
Yes, I always take notes during custody mediations.
Okay. And if they make statements that you think are important, you write them down?
Yes.
Okay. When you say that you said to her, tell me her name, what were you referring to?
Mr. Broderick's then girlfriend.
And you were attempting to get Mrs. Broderick to just call her by name and talk about her as a person as opposed to...
Your Honor, I object. There's a place for witness and a place for the attorney.
Sustained bleeding.
Your Honor, I would also object to the speaking objections of counsel. He can make the appropriate objection.
Your Honor, and she knows how to ask appropriate non-leading questions.
Both of you know how to ask questions. The objection sustained on the basis that it's leading. Rephrase the question and go ahead.
Thank you. When you tried to divert her from using that language, were you successful?
No.
Can you describe her, did her demeanor change at all during this meeting?
During the first session?
Yes. You indicated that she was angry. Was that consistent throughout?
Yes.
What happened then? How did the meeting end? Why did the meeting end?
The time was up.
Okay. Had you made any headway as far as getting anything done in that meeting?
No,
Do you, I'm not sure if you said, and I apologize if I'm asking a repeated question, do you usually just have one meeting with mom, one meeting with dad, and then with the kids, or do you sometimes have more than one meeting with each parent?
I usually have one meeting with each parent, one meeting with each child, and so forth.
Okay. Did you just have one meeting with Elizabeth Broderick, or did you decide to do something else?
No, I had more meetings.
Okay. What happened?
I'm stubborn, and I wanted to see if I could make some headway. And so I had another meeting. I scheduled another meeting with Mrs. Broderick that was 2 hours long.
Okay. And was that on March 12th of 1987?
Yes,
Now, before you had that meeting, you indicated, you talked a little bit about the Tarasoff ruling and your obligation as a therapist to warn someone if someone else has made threats that you're aware of, correct?
yes,
Did you make that warning to Mr. Broderick?
yes,
Did you advise anyone else of the threat?
yes.
Who was that?
I called the police department, but they hung up on me. And then I called Mr. Barry, who was then Mr. Broderick's attorney.
Okay. So you advised Mr. Broderick as well as his attorney?
Yes, I sort of wanted someone else to know besides Mr. Broderick.
Now, can you describe for us what happened in the second meeting that you had with her?
Yes. I sort of made up my mind ahead of time that I was going to keep control of the situation, and I was going to do it in a very focused fashion so that it would stick to the issues. And I asked Mrs. Broderick to tell me a little history, to tell me what had happened and how this situation got to this point. Because neither attorney had sent me any pleadings.
And when you're talking about the situation had gotten to that point, you're talking about the custody situation. You wanted to know why the children were where they were?
Yes,
essentially?
I wanted to know when they separated. I wanted to know what led up to the children being with Mr. Broderick. I thought if I gave her a structure, a format, then we could keep it on track and get through the process.
Okay. Were you able to keep it on track and get through the process?
No.
What happened?
She responded by telling me that she lived in a house with rats and had no money. And then she went on to tell me that she had taken the children and their things to Mr. Broderick's house and left them there so he could raise them.
Okay. Did she make any other statement about what his response was when she had done that?
Yes.
What'd she say?
She said, quote, and you know what the cocksucker did? He kept them, end quote. I'm sorry, I'm not good with that language, Miss Wells.
Okay. And I apologize.
I think I'm blushing.
Okay. Was when she made that quote, do you know what he did? He kept them. How was she saying that?
She was angry. Angry and sort of, I guess angry covers it best. Angry and sort of, she sounded almost surprised.
Was that getting on track as far as you were concerned? Or did you, again, try to focus her on something?
Yes, I wanted to get back to the issues because this wasn't getting any place. And I told her that while I didn't know what Mr. Broderick's position would be, based on what she had told me, what I could glean from it, that she had been the primary parent, what I had said before.
Right.
And that we needed to work things out. And I wanted her to tell me what kind of plan she had in mind. Most people come into mediation with some kind of plan, whether rational or otherwise. They have some kind of an agenda as to what they want from the process.
And what did she indicate to you that she wanted from the process?
Well, she said, quote, "No way, I'm not going to be the single mother of 4 kids. I've already told you that. He'll die first. I'm not letting go of him that easy. The little fucker was mine and he'll stay mine," end quote.
And was she also angry when she was making these statements?
She was yelling.
How did you respond to her yelling this?
The yelling doesn't bother me. The statement bothered me, and I said something stupid like, "Are you threatening him?" I was more startled than anything else.
Okay. And what did she say when you asked her, "Are you threatening him?"
She said, I think she thought it was a dumb sentence too. She said, "I'll threaten the cocksucker. I threaten the cocksucker all the time. You know what else he does besides sucking?" I thought she said sucking, and that's what I wrote. And I repeated that. And she said, "Not sucking, she sucks, he fucks." At that point, I ran out of patience.
Did, when you say you ran out of patience, did you confront her about the language and say anything about knock it off?
Yes.
Okay.
Essentially what I said was, I may have even said knock it off. I said, "This is about the kids. Look, let's settle down. You're a grown."
I feel like there should be so many warnings and bells and whistles going. That I did not know. But I'm sorry if this language is offensive to anyone. I do not know. This is like having a conversation with your noni. Well, with what you told me about her, I can see it. I would have never had a conversation like this with my grandma ever. My husband, he wouldn't have had a conversation like coming from his grandma that way, but they had some conversations. I was like, I would have saw next week, next month, next year, and my entire future had I said some of the things to my grandma that you said to yours. Not in a bad way. He never said it in a bad way, but it didn't matter. Did not matter. Yes, little one, you are doing a great job of censoring everything. It's hilarious. Adair, I figured you were enjoying this because of all the words we can't say, but they can say. It's okay. No, she did not. Betty did not mince her words at all. There was no censoring. I'm just like, I just keep thinking it's going to end and we're going to move on, and then it doesn't, and it just comes back. Like, so I needed to take a pregnant pause and reset. Just, holy crap. Yeah. So that's the way that goes. And now you do. You understand why her kids stopped. And she said those words to her son, who was 10 or 11 at the time. That's awful. He's too little. Not saying maybe he heard those at school, but I can tell you, the "see you next Tuesday," I did not hear when I was 10 or 11. If I did, I had no idea I heard it. It was not a word I heard till I got older. But I don't think little kids were running around spewing that out of their mouth. But she had no problem saying it right to him on the phone. Yes, this poor woman. This poor woman. She's like, can I say that here? I like when people look at the judge and go, "Do you want me to say exactly what was said?" like, yes, I need to know exactly what was said. Okay. I didn't see her blushing. Maybe it's the bad camera from the 1991, not high def. We didn't get the HD 4K. Maybe she was, but you can tell she's uncomfortable just the way that she's looking, and I do feel bad for her because I would feel the same way. I'd be like, I don't say that word. I don't say. There is one word in there that I do not say. And I would have a hard time with it. Yeah, I don't speak the C word is not a word in my vocabulary because I hate that word. I hate that word. I don't know what it is, but that's like little one, you are cracking me up today. I know you do, Gabby. It's okay. It's okay. Well, Flashman, you imagine wrong. All right, here we go. I do not say fluffy fund ever. But I missed your comment. I would have pulled it up, Flash or little one, if I would have seen when you said, and what did you say? When your comment, Mr. Funt, you in trouble, was hilarious. Or you in danger. Whatever you said was funny, but I didn't see it in time. I apologize. But it was very funny.
Grown up and so am I. Tell me what you want from this process. Use her name and let's talk about what we're going to get done.
Okay. When you did that, what did she do? When you kind of tried to confront her about it?
She told me she didn't want me to take notes anymore. She said she wouldn't stay if I wrote anything else down.
Okay. So she was obviously aware that you were taking notes. You were doing that in front of her.
Yes, I had a legal size yellow pad and a pen in my lap and I was writing.
Okay. And what happened when she told you she didn't want you to take notes anymore?
I stopped taking notes. I didn't want her to leave.
Okay. So you were still interested in continuing on and trying to do something.
Yes, I told you I'm stubborn.
Okay. What did you talk to her at all about, other people go through divorces, other people go through these kinds of things?
Your Honor, objection to leading.
Sustained.
Well, did you talk to her about anything else about other people dealing with these kinds of problems?
Yes, I was trying to calm her. And I said, I do mediation all the time. Divorce is a very painful thing. Very rarely is it done mutually. Lots of times people have affairs. Sometimes the affairs are even with somebody who's close to them, like somebody who works for them.
Objection is all irrelevant.
This is what she advised the defense.
Overrule. Go ahead.
Sometimes it's even a relative and it hurts. It hurts a lot. But, you're lucky. You have children that are healthy, who love you. And let's get on with it. Let's figure out what we're going to do here.
Okay. This was in 1987, correct? March of 1987 that you had these meetings?
Yes.
Were you aware that she had been separated from Mr. Broderick since February of 1985?
No, neither lawyer had sent me any pleadings. I sort of started where I started.
Okay. When you talked to her about that, essentially let's look at the positive, what was her response?
Her response appeared to be that she didn't want the kids back unless she could have everything back, unless she could continue to be Mrs. Daniel Broderick and have the family that she had before. The husband and the children in the house. She was just angry.
How did this particular meeting end, the second one? If you
badly. I mean, I didn't accomplish anything.
Okay. Did what was your intent at that point? Was your intent to go on or stop it?
I thought that she would calm down. I thought that maybe this was venting that she needed to do, and I decided to try to keep on with it.
Did you have another meeting with Elizabeth Broderick?
Yes, a week later.
Before having that meeting, did you also have a meeting with Dan Broderick?
Yes.
And that was for purposes of this mediation?
Yes.
You had never met him before?
I don't recall ever having heard his name before.
Can you tell us about your meeting with Dan Broderick? What was his attitude about mediating the custody dispute?
I don't have any notes from that meeting. And I can't exactly tell you why I don't have any notes, except at that point, I think that if I wasn't going to take notes with Mrs. Broderick, I also wouldn't take notes with Mr. Broderick. So I can't tell you anything specific that he said.
Okay. Do you recall anything about his attitude?
Your Honor, objection, it's not irrelevant.
Overruled. Just answer if you didn't call his attitude.
Yes,
Can you describe it for us?
pleasant, cooperative, pleasant, mild-mannered.
Did it appear as though he was interested in attempting to resolve this dispute?
Your Honor, I have an objection. Your Honor, it's irrelevant.
I disagree.
Overruled is relevant. Sustained. Overruled, you can answer that.
Have you heard it sidebar, Your Honor? There was at least some ruling last time about what we can get into and what we can't, what releases there's been.
Well, no, overruled, you can answer what his, if he wanted to resolve the dispute on custody, just did he or didn't?
Yes, sir, he did.
Wanted something else, I suppose.
Was he in any way throwing up roadblocks to you attempting to mediate this dispute?
Your Honor, I have an
Sustained. Wanted something else.
You indicated that you did have a third meeting with Mrs. Broderick, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that on March 19th?
Yes.
And did you take any notes?
I tried, but she wouldn't let me.
Okay. Do you recall essentially what occurred at that meeting?
Yes. She told me she'd always been a good mother, always been there, and had taken the children every place and done all the things that a mother who is not employed does with and for her children. And I believed her.
Okay. Did she indicate whether or not she wanted custody of the kids, or what happened, what ultimately happened in this meeting?
No, she didn't indicate that she wanted custody of the kids. The more she talked about it, and it started off fairly calmly, she got angrier and angrier and went over the things that she had said before. She felt, I think, that she had lost. And I tried to tell her that, see, I thought I was making progress. I tried to tell her that we could work things out, that I thought that she could have the children back. And at this point, I'd already talked to Mr. Broderick. And we needed to work out visitation.
Okay.
And what did she have in mind, if she got them back, that he could have her visitation?
And do you recall what her response was?
She didn't want him to have visitation.
Okay.
And she got very angry then.
Now you're looking at some notes. You indicated you didn't take any notes at the time. Did you jot down some notes after your meeting?
Yes. After the meeting was over, I wrote down some notes because at this point, I was apprehensive isn't the right word, but I thought that I had better keep a record of the session. So I wrote some notes afterward.
And you indicated that she got angry in that session. It was similar to the anger that she had before.
Very similar to the anger that she had before.
Okay, can you describe the degree of her anger if you can? Can you qualify it?
Inordinate.
Okay.
She was very, 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 very angry.
Did you attempt to do anything when she was angry to get her off on another subject just to see how that worked?
Yes, I wanted to see if I could. She was wearing a gorgeous Diane Freeze dress. I recognize it. And I told her how pretty the dress was. And she told me that it's a good kind of dress to wear when when you gain too much weight. And since I fall in the same category, I was interested. And we talked about the dress a little bit. And she told me how much it cost. And she was charming.
Okay.
And
was there any significance of that to you, that at the height of her anger that you could change the subject and she would talk charmingly?
yes, I, at this point, wanted to try to assess her psychological condition. And I wanted to see if the topic were something other than her divorce, if she could be rational. And she was rational and charming and very pleasant.
And what did that indicate to you, just about her feelings about the divorce?
That when she talked about her divorce,
No, I have an objection to the conclusion unless this is going to be an expert witness. I guess treat as such.
Sustained.
Was there anything about Elizabeth Broderick that suggested to you that she was irrational or psychotic or out of control, or was she just angry?
Your Honor, again, I object.
Sustained unless you're going to qualify her as an expert as well. She testified she didn't see her for therapy, or nurse, or excuse me, for custody counseling.
Well, how would you just describe her demeanor then?
most of the time she was enraged. She was furious.
Okay.
She was yelling.
Would the feeling for whether or not Elizabeth Broderick was an intelligent woman?
Yes,
What was
she's a very intelligent woman.
any problems with her cognitively understanding what you were talking about, for example?
No, she is very intelligent, very perceptive.
Would you've indicated that you have obviously talked to a lot of people going through divorces. How was Elizabeth Broderick's demeanor compared to all of these other people?
No, this is irrelevant unless this is an expert witness.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I'd like to be heard on that. I think she can compare it to other people.
All other people in the same situation with child custody.
Yeah.
So they've got a foundation now.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I thought I was asking. In comparison to all of the people that you've dealt with at mediating child custody disputes, and obviously seeing different variations of anger, where would you put Elizabeth Broderick?
She may be the angriest person I ever saw. She's one of the top two anyway.
And when you made this tear-off warning to Mr. Broderick, was that something that you do as a matter? I mean, is that something that happens often?
No,
How many times in the course of your career have you made tear-off warnings?
in the last more than 15 years, I've made 3 to judges where people didn't like the ruling and threatened to harm the judge. And to one other person that I can remember now other than Mr. Broderick.
What happened at the end of this third meeting? I believe you indicated that you started talking about her dress. What happened right after that?
She got angry again, and I tried to turn her again, and I was able to do it. And she started to talk about the children, and then she got up abruptly, and she said, "I'm not coming back here." And I said, "What?" I thought I was making progress. I said, "What?" And she said, "I'm not coming back here. You're too good. You make me forget I'm angry at the little fucker and his cunt. I don't want those kids as a single."
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm not coming back here. You are too good.
You make me forget I'm angry at the little fucker and his cunt. I don't want those kids as a single mother. I won't let you talk me into it.
And then what happened?
She got up
And left?
and left. Fairly pleasantly. She wasn't angry then.
She was just making a very firm statement about her feelings.
Yes, she was, as I remember it, being pleasant.
Did you also? Well, I take it that there was never any. Well, excuse me. Let me back up. Were there any other meetings with Elizabeth Broderick after this third one? For purposes of mediation.
No,
Okay. Did the mediation ever go through? Were you ever able to work out anything?
no, ma'am.
Okay. And you never ended up filing any sort of report or recommendation with the court?
No,
Did you start as a therapist, providing therapy for Danny Broderick?
yes,
And this was about the same period of time?
yes,
Okay. And was that at Mr. Broderick's request? Were you aware, I'm sorry, let me back up. Were you aware that Danny was living with Mr. Broderick at the time?
oh, yes,
Okay. And did Mr. Broderick contact you for purposes of giving therapy to Danny?
I don't remember if it was Mr. Broderick specifically or Mr. Barry. It could have been one and it could have been the other.
Okay. And for how long did you provide therapy for Danny?
Approximately 6 months.
And during the time that you were providing therapy for Danny, did you have contact with Dan Broderick, Mr. Broderick?
Yes,
Okay. Was he, can you indicate for us, was he concerned about his children?
Your Honor, you can't ask that question unless I am allowed to cross-examine by seeing all the notes, which I can deny.
Sustained.
Well, then I'd like to be heard at sidebar. I don't believe there's any privilege with respect to Mr. Broderick.
Do you want the notes of her interviews with Mr. Broderick turned over?
I don't believe well, we can talk at sidebar.
All right, come on up.
Can you just describe for us, please, Dr. Roth, what Dan Broderick's attitude was with respect to Danny and him receiving therapy and getting help?
he appeared to be concerned about his son's welfare and wanted him to have help, therapy.
Okay. And did he have contact with you? Did he discuss things with you regarding Danny?
Yes,
Okay. Was there one particular incident that you recall on an Easter vacation where it was your recommendation that Elizabeth Broderick not have visitation?
yes, after a consultation with Dr. Sparta.
Okay. Was this did you make that recommendation? Did you tell Mr. Broderick that you did not think the visitation should go through?
Yes,
Without telling us the specifics, can you just tell us what you were relying on?
I don't think so. Your Honor, I'm gonna,
Let me, were you relying on information from Danny? I don't want to know the specifics. Was it information from Danny? Was it information from somebody else? Can you answer that question?
Your Honor,
You're getting into privileged area, Ms. Wells. I'm a little uncomfortable with you asking these kinds of questions.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna answer them anyway, Your Honor.
All right, you claim the privilege then?
Yes, sir.
All right.
On behalf of Danny.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask for the notes so that I can see them. The district attorney knows that
I have no objection, Your Honor, to him having the notes. It's
Do you have,
Dr. Roth.
Dr. Roth, do you have any notes on the Easter vacation?
No, sir, I don't.
Go ahead,
I have no further questions.
cross-examine.
Ma'am, what's the name of the three judges that you do?
Objection, I think that's irrelevant.
Overruled.
Judge Kutzner, she was Judge Zumwalt then, but now she's Judge Kutzner. Judge Pate. I have to think for a minute. Mr. Early, he's dead. The judge that was a friend of J. Edgar Hoover, and I can't remember his name.
I can probably help if that's permissible.
I
didn't know J. Edgar.
I can't remember he had a,
Was it Judge Euchre?
no.
I can't help, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. He had a life-size picture of J. Edgar Hoover in his office, and I can't remember his name.
Can you just give me an approximate date? Then we'll probably find that.
1979, of that judge,
Yes.
he was sitting in Department 2 then in domestic. That's gonna make me crazy, Mr. Early.
That's fine. And you gave one other warning to one other individual, is that correct?
Yes,
Now, what were the names of do you remember the names of the parties with Judge Kunstler?
you mean the name of the person?
Yeah.
No.
No, sustained.
Did you have any background, even though you didn't get any pleadings in the Broderick case, did you have any background whatsoever about that?
Maybe 3 sentences worth.
Okay, did you know so you knew nothing about them at all, their history whatsoever?
No, sir, I didn't.
You knew Judge Ashworth at that time, didn't you?
He was an attorney, yes. I mean, before he was a judge, yes, sir.
Okay, but you knew at that time you were dealing with Mr. Gerald Berry, isn't that correct?
I was dealing with Mr. Barry, yes, sir.
And you knew that Mr. Berry was Mr. Ashworth's partner.
Yes,
And you knew Mr. Ashworth was now the head of the family law court in San Diego.
I don't think he was the head then.
You know when he became head?
Objection, you're right.
Sustained.
You knew Mr. Berry fairly well, did you not?
Not really. I know him.
Well, you know him as well. You mean you know him as well as any other attorney? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I know him as well as, there are many attorneys I know much better than Mr. Barry.
And the third session with Mrs. Broderick, did you grant her wishes and not take notes, or did you start out by trying to take notes?
I started out by trying to take notes.
Now, for some reason, Mr. Broderick, you thought that there should not take any notes at all. Is that correct? Because you hadn't taken any from Mrs. Broderick? Is that what you said?
Yes,
Okay. It had nothing to do with the fact that he was a prominent attorney that you decided that not to take notes of what he's saying. It's just you wanted to be fair to Mrs. Broderick. Is that what your testimony is?
not exactly. Quite frankly,
You indicate you take notes at every single session.
Yes.
That's your habit.
that's right.
But for some reason, you broke the habit with Mr. Broderick. Is that correct?
Yes,
Have you ever broke it with anyone else?
no,
Have you ever said to anyone else, sir, do you want notes taken or do you just take them?
I never ask anybody. I just do it.
Okay, and that's what you did with Mrs. Broderick. Every chance you got, you tried to take notes, didn't you? You did the first section, you did the second section until she stopped, and you did it the third session. Isn't that right?
It wasn't every chance I got. I do it routinely.
No, do you do it routinely, or is it Mr. Broderick was different than every other person, wasn't he?
They were both different from every other person.
Mr. Broderick is the only person you're telling me in your career where you didn't even try to take a note. Isn't that right?
I suppose so.
And Mr. Broderick, after those sessions, you remained on Mr. Broderick's payroll. He paid you after that for therapy. Isn't that right?
That's right, Mr. Early.
And you got into a fee dispute with Mrs. Broderick and sued her for money, did you not?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, that was a suit that you had that you lost, isn't that right?
That's right.
Okay, and when Mrs. Broderick came in, at that time, you had received a letter indicating that Mr. Broderick, or at least there was some argument whether Mr. Broderick was going to pay for this or whether Mrs. Broderick was going to pay for half. Isn't that correct?
No, the letter came later.
Well, at some point in time, you got a letter indicating that that it was the understanding that Mr. Broderick, did you get one from Tricia Smith about Mr. Broderick paying for all of the therapy?
No,
Now, when Mrs. Broderick came in, you indicated that right away she went into the subject explaining how she felt about Mr. Broderick. Is that correct?
yes,
And she talked about being a single mother and about her feelings about Mr. Dan Broderick. Is that correct?
Yes,
And when she explained these feelings, did she tell you, when she was explaining how she felt, why she didn't want to have the children at that point, did she explain that she didn't trust Mr. Broderick? Was she telling you that?
I don't think she said she didn't trust him.
Okay. Was she telling you at all that Mr. Broderick uses money as a weapon?
I don't know that she put it that way, but she may have.
And did she also tell you that she felt that as soon as Mr. Broderick had the children, that there would be problems in paying for their education, for their child support? Did she
No,
talk to you about that at all?
no, she didn't.
Okay. No mention at all about the fact that, that she wanted to settle the matter first, make sure that she had an independent life without Mr. Broderick having the money?
No, she didn't say that.
She didn't tell you at all that Mr. Broderick had, that she was concerned because Mr. Broderick owned all the assets and she didn't have any?
Objection, I missed this, yeah,
I'm asking if she didn't mention that.
Overall, you can answer that.
Did she mention that at all?
Say it again, please, Mr. Early.
Did she mention at all that Mr. Broderick had the assets and that he wouldn't settle the divorce case? And that she thought he was dragging his feet?
No, she said she wasn't getting any support.
Was there any question at all about, were there complaints at all about lack of discovery from Mr. Broderick and he was dragging her feet? Was that brought up at all?
No,
The, Mr. Broderick, you indicated that you called Mr. Berry in regards to Mr. Broderick after you warned Mr. Broderick. Was that because Mr. Broderick didn't show any concern?
no, it's because the police department hung up on me.
Well, you then said you called Mr. Broderick.
No, first I called Mr. Broderick.
Okay, and did Mr. Broderick say that's what she always says?
Yes, sir, he did.
Okay, and then you called the police,
Yes, sir.
and then you called Mr. Berry,
Yes.
and did you write a letter about having trouble getting a hold of Mr. Broderick, needing another phone number?
A lot later, yes.
So there was at some point in time where you weren't able to get through to a private number where you could get a hold of Mr. Broderick, is that right? Or your calls weren't getting returned?
Which, do you want me to answer one or both?
Well, one or both, whatever.
I'm going to,
I mean,
Tom had a question.
Okay. Was there a time where you had some problems getting some calls returned?
there was a time, yes.
And was there a time where you didn't have a number where you could reach Mr. Broderick?
The answer would have to be yes.
And was there a time where there was enough that you wrote a letter asking for at least asking for help in that, to make sure that there was some place where you would be able to have some communication, where it was guaranteed communication?
I can't answer that yes or no, Mr. Early. I wrote a letter, but not for that reason.
Did the letter contain some facts about problems getting a hold of Mr. Broderick?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that there was something about Easter that you were involved in. Do you remember what day of the week was that? Was that a Friday?
I don't remember, Mr. Early.
Do you remember anything, whether it was the last day of school before Easter?
I'm going to have to tell you that I don't remember. It was 4.5 years ago.
You talked to Dr. Sparta,
I remember talking to Dr. Sparta, yes.
and Danny had been treated with Dr. Sparta before he came to you.
Yes.
Did you talk to her at all about the sale of her home, or about being in a hospital?
Excuse me?
Did you talk to her at all about the sale of her home or being put in a hospital?
She mentioned something to me about the sale of a home, but I didn't know she was in the hospital.
The, you described her conversation about her being when she was raising the children, about she felt that she had worked hard, belonged to PTA organizations.
Yes, sir.
And she also raised concerns about the boys being beat up by their father.
She mentioned that. I'm sorry?
Hit by the father.
I don't think she said hit. She didn't say hit.
Kicked or beat.
Yes, she said that.
You didn't do any psychological testing on Elizabeth Broderick?
Oh, no.
And did you receive any psychological tests?
No.
Is that something you normally do, normally don't do, sometimes you do?
Sometimes I do.
And did you receive any on Mr. Broderick?
None.
And did you do any on Mr. Broderick?
No.
Do you do psychological testing yourself?
I do MMPIs. Anything further, full batteries, I send out.
Okay. Now, when you told Mrs. Broderick about the process, you let her know that everything she told you was going to be passed along to Mr. Broderick, didn't you? You told her that this was an open, whatever you say here, both sides get to know.
No. I mean, I didn't say that, no.
Well, you tell them that whatever she tells you, you report back to the prospective attorneys, don't you?
No. If there is an agreement, all the attorneys get is the agreement. If there is no agreement, then I write a full report, just as would happen in a full psychological evaluation, a custody evaluation. Everything else is kept. If they'd reached an agreement, no one would have known anything, except the terms of the agreement.
Well, except if there's no agreements, don't you report back you tell her the conversations she's having with you are not confidential? Don't you tell her that?
Wait, I'm sorry, ask it again.
Well, when she came in, Elizabeth Broderick came in and you were talking to her, did you let her know that you were not on either side and that basically the conversation is not confidential?
I don't say those words. I said the first part of I say that I'm not on either side, that my job is to be an advocate for the children. I doubt that I specifically said this is not confidential because the attorneys tell people that. That's part of the process. Most attorneys prep their clients very thoroughly for coming in to see me.
Well, last time you testified, when I asked you the conversation is not confidential, you answered yes, didn't you? You told her that? It's one of the things you told her?
I don't recall saying that it was or wasn't confidential.
Yeah. Page 702 of the 29. 15 through 20, if you could read that to yourself.
Yes, sir.
Was that one of the things that were asked, that you told her that it was not confidential?
She didn't ask me. What I said was a report would be made to the attorneys. It was the word confidential that threw me.
Oh, okay. So you let her know in basic terms that what is being said, what goes on there, that's gonna go to the attorneys.
If they reach an agreement, the terms of the agreement go to the attorneys. If there is no agreement, then a full report is made.
Okay.
It was the word confidential that
Okay, so at that point, if there's no agreement, there's a full report made,
Yes,
and did you make a full report?
no,
The, and it was your feeling that she was not somebody who needed therapy?
Objection, how would she ever testify to that?
Sustained.
Well, do you remember when you're going through this session with her, thinking to yourself, this woman needs therapy?
I remember thinking that, yes.
Remember, remember last year, you remember last year saying that you don't remember ever thinking that?
No, I don't remember saying it. If I said that, I must have been in a very benign frame of mind. I mean, I don't remember having said that she doesn't need therapy.
Remember saying you don't remember thinking that whenever you were asked, did you think that she needed therapy?
At any point throughout the process?
Page 703, lines 7 through 11. Read 7.
I read it.
Do you feel that that's not an accurate reflection of what you were feeling?
That which isn't an accurate reflection.
Well,
That I think so or that I don't think so.
what is it? Do you remember thinking that she needed therapy?
I don't know if I thought it then or if I'm thinking it now. See, I can't unscramble it in my head from what I thought 4.5 years ago to what I'm thinking now. So I don't know how to answer the question.
Okay. And I take it that when you're trying to think about things now, you're also thinking about all the things you've learned about this case since then.
Actually, I'm not. I'm remembering what happened back then.
Her asking some conversation about splitting the kids because she felt that there was some problems emotionally with having all 4, with the divorce not being settled.
No, I don't.
Remember her having a conversation at all about splitting the children?
It's not the it's not court TVs. It's on my end, and I don't know. My son and I have been trying to figure out what is causing it. So I apologize. Some days it's worse than others. I don't know if it's because it's cloudy today and not sunshiny. I have no clue, but I do apologize. But it's not. It's my end. So I just don't know what it is yet. And my son and I have been working on it, but we haven't figured it out yet. So, but we're working. We're trying to get it better. It's been really good for a while, but today has just been awful. But we are almost finished, so we don't have that much time. I know, and StreamYard's been weird. I don't know what's been happening. StreamYard and YouTube have been doing a lot of weird things lately, and it has kind of made things off. So then I don't know where the problem is coming in at, but because I can look at my YouTube connection is fine. It's StreamYard will start doing stuff, and then but I can't. There's nothing I can do. So I don't know, but we're almost finished. But I do apologize for whatever it is. Also, the defense has asked probably some of the best questions today that he's asked the whole entire time. He's gotten a little off track here at the end, but I'm like, you've asked some decent questions. Finally. Yes, if that little tiny cup would refill itself, then nothing would happen. I was watching Saturday. Well, I was listening and then Brand's like, "Can you go?" Like, telling me to run upstairs. That was funny. I'm like, I can't leave you here with the baby. You can't carry the baby. But we got it all taken care of. It was great. They did great. Here we go. Yes, it only took him 18 days. That's good questions. Gabby, it was not the worst. Things happen every day, and you did just fine. So you got everything fixed. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I could have unmuted you on my end, and you don't need to feel bad. Things happen. Just like tonight, things are happening. So it's not a big deal. It's just life. Life on YouTube and the internet. Yeehaw, good times. And real life. It was fun, Ronnie, and you had some questions. They were great. It was just fun. It was fun. So, yep. Nobody feel bad. Everybody had a good time.
I can't remember that.
Is that something that she could have asked? Or is that something you would not, that would be something you would?
Objection calls for speculation. She's answering the question.
Stand.
I'd like to show her something, so can I at least do the foundation?
Sure.
Okay. Is that something that she definitely didn't say because you don't remember it?
That's exactly it. I can't tell you that she didn't say it or that she did say it. I don't remember hearing it.
Did she talk to you about Dr. Nelson?
She may have mentioned Dr. Nelson's name. I quite frankly don't recall.
I could show you page 704, lines 19 and 20.
She may have, as I said, she may have mentioned it.
Did you hear me talking about you? I just was talking about you and how we were trying to figure out the problems going on. And we were talking about Saturday. Yes, Gabby, there were some really good questions, but it was so funny because Carmen took a break and then you muted, and then Carmen comes back and has no idea that she can't hear you. She's just kind of sitting there like, what's going on? Why is Gabby not talking? That was funny. Anyway. All right. She just kind of had a really uncomfortable look on her face. Like, where'd Gabby go? And I didn't know. I just knew you were having problems, but I didn't know I didn't know how long they were going to last. Sorry. Push the accidentally clicked. Alrighty. Here we go. Here we go again. 10 minutes left.
Well, last year you said she mentioned his name briefly, didn't you? You didn't say she may have. You said she mentioned his name briefly.
Okay.
Well, Ms. Burley can't teach on a relevant matter like that. Go on to something else.
Your Honor, I'm trying to test her recollection, as to that conversation. It's 4.5 years later. I think I have a right to do that.
We have the right to do it. Whether she may have mentioned Dr. Nelson's name briefly or not is really irrelevant to these proceedings on something else.
Well, Dr. Nelson is a child psychiatrist, isn't he?
Yes, very well known.
And she discussed with you fears about the process and about the outcome being ordained.
Yes,
This case was also unusual in that there was no fee agreement. Isn't that correct?
with whom? With
No.
me?
Yes, there was no fee agreement in this case, was there? Agreed upon beforehand.
You're right, there wasn't.
And that's very unusual for you, isn't it?
Practically unheard of.
And that was because of Mrs. Broderick?
No, I don't know why it was. I always establish that, I try to establish that kind of, well, no, not try. I always establish that kind of thing ahead of time. I don't know why there wasn't.
And when, after the fee disagreement with, in regards to Mrs. Broderick, someone did pay your fees, didn't they?
Yes and no. Well,
Did they get paid from another source?
no.
I have no further questions.
How long are you going to be on redirect?
Not very long.
Go ahead.
Counsel suggesting, Dr. Roth, that you're perjuring yourself here because you were on Dan Broderick's payroll. Is that true?
Your Honor, that is argumentative, and I would like to court it.
Sustained.
Well, he asked you about being on Dan Broderick's payroll, right? Are you on Dan Broderick's payroll, and is that why you're testifying the way you are?
No.
You feel some need to come in here and perjure yourself on behalf of Dan Broderick?
I don't feel a need to come in here at all. No.
Is your testimony biased in some way because you have some obligation to Dan Broderick or the powers that be?
As well as I didn't even know Dan Broderick. No, the answer is no, I'm sorry.
You indicated that you took notes as the conversations were occurring with Elizabeth Broderick, correct?
Well, part of the time.
Right. And those were part of your file, and that file with respect to that mediation has been turned over for discovery, correct?
To both of you, yes.
Nothing being hidden there to anybody, correct?
No, absolutely not.
And do you recall at this point why it was that you didn't take notes when you talked to Dan Broderick or not?
I'm trying to remember since it first came up today, and I honestly can't remember. It had nothing to do with Dan Broderick. I just can't remember. I think I was beginning to think the whole thing was hopeless and that it wasn't going to go anyplace. But I don't know.
You indicated that by the time you talked to Dan, you'd already had 2 meetings with Elizabeth Broderick that were fairly unsuccessful, correct?
Yeah.
Some suggestion that somebody call you up and say, hey, you're going to talk to Dan Broderick, so you better not take notes?
No, of course not.
If Mrs. Broderick said something to you about not trusting Dan Broderick, do you have any idea why she wouldn't want to take the kids then? Does that make any sense?
I didn't know why she didn't want to take the kids.
if she was truly believing that Dan Broderick was beating and kicking her kids, do you have any idea why she wouldn't want to take them then?
Your Honor, I object.
Overruled, it's proper redirect. You brought that up. Go ahead.
Well, I understand I brought it up, Your Honor, but redirect still means that you don't ask any questions.
Well, she has to focus in the area. Go ahead. That's a proper question. Go ahead. You can answer that.
No, I have no idea. I had no idea why she wouldn't try to keep it the same tense. No, I had no idea why she wouldn't take the kids.
That sounds a little inconsistent, doesn't it? For her to say, you're not going to talk to me and they can, when Dan Broderick is beating them up.
Your Honor, objection. It's testifying, and then there's a yes and no answer. That's legal.
Sustained. That's argumentative.
Is there any indication whatsoever from Danny Broderick that Dan Broderick beat him?
Your Honor,
Is this the privilege area?
I think so, Your Honor.
All right. Do you find the privilege?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right.
On behalf of Danny, you're claiming the privilege?
Yes, on behalf of Danny, I'm claiming the privilege.
Actually, you assert the privilege.
I'm sorry, right.
That's okay. For the record, clear. Go ahead.
You indicated that you wrote a letter to Dan Broderick. Counsel asked you about writing a letter to him regarding having some concerns getting in touch with him.
Yes,
I don't know what he's talking about, so I'm asking you, what was that letter about?
I wanted to give him a tear-off warning. And I wasn't in San Diego. Your Honor, I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to answer or not to answer.
No, you can answer that. Go ahead.
Okay.
It was brought up. Go ahead.
I wanted to give him a tear-off warning, and I wasn't in San Diego. I'd been contacted out of town, and I was using payphones. And I wrote the letter to sort of cover my malpractice. I wanted to have some formal record that I had contacted him. And that's why I wrote the letter.
Okay. Was there, you indicated that there was some problem with getting in touch with Dan Broderick?
I couldn't get through.
When you were calling on the payphones that
Yes.
you're talking about? When you were involved with treating Danny, did you have any problems getting in touch with Dan Broderick or him getting in touch with you and dealing with whatever needed to be dealt with?
No, this was the only time. And the letter was written to cover my back, sort of.
You indicated that when you told Mr. Broderick about the threats that the defendant were making, that he indicated to you that he was aware that she had been making threats. Is that correct?
Yes, he was very non-committal. It's like, oh, okay,
Okay. He'd heard them before.
that's exactly what he said.
And Elizabeth Broderick, in fact, had told you she'd been threatening him for quite some time, right? She said, I threaten the you-know-what all the time.
Yes. I didn't,
And when she indicated to you that she wasn't getting any support, were you aware of the time that she had a court-ordered support since December of '86 for $16,000 a month? Did she tell you anything about that?
no, she didn't.
Did she tell you anything about the money that she was actually receiving?
No. I don't get into money. I'm not interested in their money.
I have no further questions.
Recross.
No.
Witness be excused.
To recall, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
We did it. We did it. We did it. Sorry. So that witness, she was interesting for me to watch because she didn't look like my mom, but she has the same hair color as my mom. And she kind of had some of the same mannerisms as my mom. I can totally see my mom being like, Judge, I don't know what to say here. And my mom would not have said it like a Valley girl, but that was fun. Yes, and then holy cow. All right. So I told you the judge is actually still alive. I didn't think he probably was. Sorry, Judge. The prosecutor, she became a judge. She has since retired. And because of this trial, she never allowed cameras into her courtroom except for, I think, the verdict and maybe sentencing. She hated the cameras in the courtroom. So I thought that was interesting because we're all like, put the cameras in the courtroom. Don't just show us the sentencing or, little bits and pieces here. Show us everything. And she said no because of this trial. The other thing that I read today when I was reading the article about this therapist or whatever she was, is that this retrial it had lost a lot of the drama and the spark of the first trial. So I'm like, dang it. Why didn't we get to, I want to see that one. Yes, my mom would have liked trial watching. But yeah, not the sides of that lady's hair, but the top of her hair. And I mean, the color is spot on of my mom's hair color. I didn't get the red. My sister has red hair like that. And then my mom had red hair. But I don't. Every once in a while I do, but it's not real. That's just fake red. Yes, the mannequins hated it. They left. They're like, we out. Daddy Short Nuts. Was it Daddy Short? No, it was Puddletown. Posted the funniest thing about of all these. I don't know what site he was on, but it had mannequins from different stores doing hilarious things. And he just had them posted, which was so funny after seeing the mannequins in this trial and the jokes that you guys have made about the mannequins. But yes, the mannequins are in custody court. But they were good. They were really good. It was very funny, and I enjoyed looking at them because I was thinking, who put this together, and what were they thinking at the time? I wasn't on Discord a whole bunch over the weekend, so I was kind of just seeing little blips here and there, but those made my day. I think he's probably at work, Flash fan. Probably at work. Maybe. I don't know. But don't come now, Puddletown, because it's over. You come in here and be mad because I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. All right. So tomorrow, I think that, let me check here real quick because I think tomorrow is, I think it's a long one, I think. Longer than what we normally do it's just one of those long days. Yeah. So tomorrow's testimony is about 2.5 hours. 2, 3. Looks like we have 4 witnesses tomorrow. I'll have to look to see who they are. And then after tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Yeah. So Thursday, then we get Lee Broderick on the stand. So that's the other daughter. That's the one that was written out of Dan's will and was never put back into Dan's will before he was taken out. No, Saturday was not a members only thing, little one. It was just Carmen and Gabby were nice enough to do a stream because I had forgotten I was going to not be streaming yesterday, and so I was happy. They like to do a stream every now and then, and they're always funny. So they offered, and I was like, here you go. So, but they did. They just had some hiccups, just like today. I've had hiccups. It's fine. Hiccups happen. And it seems like the hiccups, once you get them once, you just kind of keep getting them. But they did kind of an Ask Me Anything stream. So they were both taking questions, and they did well. And Ronnie was just like the question queen that night. She was just, here's a question, here's another question. It was great. It was so good. But so tomorrow we will, like I said, we will go a little bit longer today than we did today. And get through these 4 witnesses. I'll look to see who they are. We will start at 5:30 like normal. And then that'll be Wednesday. Man, I am off because I thought today was Monday. It's a good thing I didn't forget today was Tuesday and I had things to do. And then Thursday is going to be a long one too, because Lee's first day of testimony is 3 hours almost. So it looks like maybe Lee is only on the stand one day, maybe. So, Country Fried Lies. That sounds familiar, little one. I'm not sure. Everyone should watch the stream where we didn't make you read as a woman, you read as a woman. So that's all I can say about that, Flash fan. And it was awesome. Yeah, the Gabby and Carmen stream was hilarious. Yes, Laura, a 3-hour tour tomorrow and probably on Thursday. And I will hopefully not be buffering like this. This is driving me nuts. Well, December 29th is really far away, and none of us might be here. We might all be gone by then. It's like the earth could explode. I don't know. Implode, explode, whatever it does. It could just stop spinning for a second and throw us all off and be like, get out. Wouldn't blame it. But yep, I'm out too, little one. So you guys all enjoy the rest of your evening. Look at this. 7:13. Might actually make it to bed on time tonight. Yay. You guys don't know how excited I am about that. Because I am. But that's all. I'm tired. I've been a tired person. My dog's actually let me sleep in almost an extra hour today. So I didn't even know what to do with myself, except then I was off. That's probably another reason. But anyway, we'll stop talking now. See you guys all tomorrow, 5:30, or if I'll see in somebody's chat, watching the retrial. Despite what Flashman heard, the retrial is not in verdict watch. The state has not even rested yet. So it is not in verdict watch. Not even close. They might be on life support, but they're not in verdict watch. But anyway, that's all I have. So you guys all go enjoy the rest of your evening. Hopefully the weather is nice where you're at. It's a little chilly here, but doesn't matter. I'm not going outside. So see you guys all tomorrow. And that's all I got. So bye.